So we were going to have it come to this station, this town here, weren't we? So it would, whoops, let's curve around this bit of land. It would basically go up the coast. So it goes in this direction here. Whoa. Sometimes it is hard to make out terrain in the game. So let's move this up here. Right. Where can we build a station in this town? By the way, I do realise I haven't built the station for the previous town yet. I tend to put the railways in, then I'll sort out the stations, because the longer you leave a station without it being serviced, the town rating can go down. So the stations are the last, well, the platforms rather, are the last thing that I will install. So let's make our little skeleton diagram of where the platforms will be. Now it's lower down, so just to make sure. And again, obviously there wasn't really anything at this side of the station previously, but now I'm in the town, I'm obviously having to work around the area. I'll make sure that there are roads servicing, well, areas close to the city centre, because the closer obviously a tile is to the city centre, the more likely it is to be built upon. So I want to make sure that the roads will go past obviously anything that I put in to obstruct them, just so the town again will grow a lot quicker. I'll knock down the town's football stadium just to show their commitment to my devious project to bring in this little railway. I could just cut through that. Yeah, it should look okay. And we'll have the railway come through this section here and a line up there. Then sometimes I'll build the skeletons of the stations first, because it can be the fiddliest part to do. So it can be a bit tedious after a while, especially when you're building big routes. Okay, so here I'm going to do something a little different, just so the what I've done at the previous stations. I'm going to, the railway is going to come this way. Well, that links up perfectly with that platform. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because that's just going to be a little bit tight. So we'll do that instead, just to feed the train into the platform. And then we'll drag and go over here to this very convenient little section. Now, how are we going to tackle this? So the first thing I'll do is, when I'm going up to a junction like this, I need to work out how I'm going to approach it, and obviously what kind of junction is necessary. Now this is very close to a station. Now what it means is, if I come over here, obviously if we have like our platforms, come on, bad time, platforms here, right? And then we have our train going off that way. Let's imagine we have this. Now when I join a track up so close to the station like this, where there's only one block of signalling between that and the platforms, what can sometimes happen is trains can come from this way here, block this track, and essentially create a gridlock. So I'm quite cautious of avoiding situations like that. It tends to happen at the when you basically put junctions in these kind of places. So I can't really have it just directly cross over the track like that and obviously start down. I can either build a flyover for the far track so it doesn't just obviously go over the tracks, or I could have this section of building here taken out and have one section of track there and have two lines come off here. In fact, I think that is what I'm going to go with. It may be something that I'll have to change later if the route gets busy, because it will be a little bottleneck, but it will mean that I can do it with as little disruption as possible to the buildings that are already here, because again, I don't want to, if possible, I don't want to destroy buildings, because that's where my money comes from. So we can link it up like that. Just means that this section here will be, as long if a train's using that, then it can affect the block sections up here. That should be okay for the time being. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so all there is left to do is just this section here. Now there's a hill here. The best way through seems to be through here, and then a tunnel maybe through this section, and then down to there. So that is what we shall do. Are we able to service this, I think? Let's have a look. So we currently have 2 stations on the route. I'm wondering whether I should build a station here as well. My concern is that it is a little close to this station, so is there any real benefit? I don't know. There are stations close further down the line. I think it'd be quite difficult to make it worthwhile, because I'd have to sacrifice the speed of any express services, because the I'd have to do a few tight turns, so I'd have to go around here like that, and that's going to slow down electric trains quite a lot. Any high-speed trains, sorry. So we'll give that town a miss. Right, so the terrain goes through here. We had a hotel as well. Oh no. Right. So we'll bury under there, just so we don't do anything too damaging to the surrounding area. Whoops. And there we go. So that's the basic section of the line complete. Now let's let's just put the signals in, and everything should be done. So okay, so that's the signalling done, and the route is complete apart from having stations. So we now have a branch line which goes from here, works down. It will have a station here in Fletfingthorn Bridge. Then it will come down to Sanningly. It will stop here at Giraffing Bridge, and we'll end up in Flunthall, of which we will have a service which will continue down to Chutbird Springs, Gonton, and we will avoid stations like this that has nothing waiting for it. There is no point stopping there, though this station otherwise. Let's have a look. Guntway. Where is Guntway? I thought it was Gontown, something completely different. Genpool Bridge. It doesn't really look like they need to go to anything near here. Yeah, that should be fine. So we won't have it stop there, unless, so that is Sinford. Let's quickly check here. Nobody waiting to go to Sinford. Let's check the other station just to see whether there is any demand for a service which stops in Sinford. Again, it's very important that we judge demand. No, there isn't, so there's absolutely no reason for us to have a station there. If anybody was wanting to change to that, then obviously they'd be at one of those 2 stations, so we know for certain that that's not the case. This is the last station that we can check whether there is demand for or not. Sinford. There's only 25 passengers that want to go there. So, nope, we're not going to stop there. We're going to go straight down to Wanningley. But does it stop there? So sometimes I'll check around, so there may be opportunities for me to expand the line a little bit further and provide maybe some traffic relief in the area. So I'll always just make sure that it is definitely the terminus I want for the line. So we have a look here. So there's quite a lot of passengers that want to go to Wanningley, so we could just do a little, we could make the line do some traffic management for the area. Printbourne, everything else is out of the way. So no. Cool. So that's our route. Now let's add stations in. So all these are complete. Let's go up here. Now I'm going to make sure, obviously, I make the stations look nice and pretty. So I'm going to use the Dutch ones because I find they look the most modern. So we have a bridge at this the northern side. So I'm going to pop my first one down here, just so the name is closer to the town centre. And build the station from here. I like to keep the stations in a similar style for the line, just like in real life. So not all stations will look the same, and they tend to be styled on obviously the time they were made and stuff. But you tend to find that stations along a certain route will have a similar style. So this is literally just a waiting board and some stairs. We'll have a look. Quite like this station. Or what the station will be. I like the area. It's on a little bit of a hill above the city. And because it's on a hill, it may be a good opportunity to not have a footbridge, but more to have an underground passage. Because one would imagine that the access to the platforms would be from the road tunnel beneath. So, do you know what? They'll need a bench after all those stairs, so we'll pop a bench down. And why not? So these people are privileged enough to have seating while they wait for a train. There's not really anything I can do to the bridge here, because the only ones that are that way round are this one, is this footbridge here. So let's have a look. Let's do on the passages as well. And again, they will require seats. And do you know what? You can have one of the little waiting rooms, because why not? Because you were easy to build in. So that is our route complete. Now the one thing that I need to build is a siding. It's something that I generally do. Now, when I'm making obviously routes like this, I mean, we saw how big the route was for these local services along this route here. So these trains, they run a fair distance, and they can become late, and there's a good chance they're going to bunch up. So all of my services will start and end at a sidings, where they'll wait for quite a few days just to even out any late runnings that they have. So I'm going to build a sidings, and it has to be well, obviously one of the ends of the routes. This looks like it might be the best place. So I'm going to need it to be 3 wide. No, that won't fit. Well, this is it's a bigger station up here, so it could be quite handy to incorporate one in. But there's no space for it. This is it's quite a bit of terrain in the area. It is looks to be a hard city to building. It's going to have to be down here. Just do it out of the way. Unless I demolish this. Yeah. Industry is really something I need to pick up on in this game. So let's put this in here. Again, I build my junctions just so I always make sure that every single entry and exit has obviously out of the station has access to every single platform, just to avoid trains doing strange things. Let's build a train depot, whichever way you want to look at it. And we will build this in a signal layout similar to a station. Now what I'm going to do is basically build the sidings as the sidings are stations in themselves, and the most inconspicuous station comes from this industrial pack of platforms. So that's basically just a load of gravel, which we are now going to call a station. So I'm gonna, well, not a station, sorry, some sidings. Right, so we now have sidings. In the brackets, I basically put how long the sidings are. That just lets me know generally if I'm how I can affect different expansion projects and such. Now, rolling stock. As you'll notice, I have tons of rolling stock, and it's a little bit too much rolling stock. Everything's on here. It can be a bit of a challenge to look through. For this route, there are trains on here that operate at 100 miles an hour. I kind of need, well, I'm going to need the train to be 100 miles an hour because these electric services here are pretty important, and they make me a lot of money. So I need to make sure that I'm not slowing those down. Not to mention that there's services here that already run over 100 miles an hour, so I don't want them bunching behind these trains. So that limits me to either the trains that you saw there, so the German-made commuting trains, or I could use a Turbo Star, which I haven't used many of recently, so I'm tempted to do so. There's not really anything else I can use. Yeah, I'm going to use the Turbo Star. Turbo Star, Turbo Keck, Turbo Lel, either way. We'll use it. And it's very specific. Thankfully, I already know that the only carriage that'll work with it is this high-speed carriage here. I'm going to make them too long. I'm going to add 2 carriages, sorry. So now we've got a train here with 4 times 35 passenger capacity. And I'm going to do the ordering. So this is where timetabling comes in.